Two. A lot happened on tonight's episode of Raw. This is the Wrestling Never Sleeps podcast. Welcome everybody to tonight's episode of Wrestling Never Sleeps for Monday Night Raw, February 14th, 2022. I'm Jared Never Sleeps. I'm here with the coach, Travis Lillard, and Adam Anthony James Martin, who's actually in my studio today. We're having we have some technical issues, so I'm in one side of the building. He's on the other side of the building. But guys, how you guys doing tonight?
Doing great. I'm just a little irritated that you dropped the cold off on the way to Miami there.
I'm obviously doing excellent, Jared. Travis, I am here in Miami. I've never been here, so I can't say finally I'm back, but nonetheless, it's a treat to be here. I am sitting in the Jared spot or the position. I am in your studio. I'm here getting a tan. I'm a little red today. We've been enjoying a lot of good food, scenery, weather. It's a complete 180 from my hometown in Canada. So this is a real treat, and I'm excited to talk about Raw tonight, even though there's very minimal on tonight's episode to be excited about as someone watching the show itself. We're going to talk about it no matter what. So there's no better way to do that here on the Wrestling Never Sleeps Network.
Well, there is certainly a lot to talk about, and we can just get right into it. I think one of the major storylines coming out of the show was the women's gauntlet match. What did you guys think about the matches in the tournament?
Travis, I'm going to let you take this one, brother.
All right, I'll go ahead. It's always a good concept to see these gauntlet-style matches, I think. It lets you see a little different perspective of what you're going to see in the cell. I think all the singles matches that we've seen are matches that I'd like to see a little bit more of, right? Maybe not something that's just a quick hitter, let's find a way to get the match over with, but legitimate matches. And I think overall, the story that we have to talk about coming out of this is Rhea Ripley, who somebody was listening. We just talked about how she was being buried all this time and how she's not where she needs to be. Well, here we are this week. This did exactly what it needed to do to Ripley. She didn't win overall. Bianca Belair, who's arguably the biggest name in it, she came out on top. But my God, Rhea Ripley looked incredible. 44 minutes and 4 seconds. It's exactly what she needed.
See, I think, and I agree with that. And I think Rhea Ripley has been obviously we talked about it, terribly underused. The only issue I have with it is that her caliber opponents, she looks great, but it doesn't really put her over because she's not really beating anybody. Right. And then
the issue there is that's all the opponents that are also going to be in the Elimination Chamber match minus Alexa Bliss. So it might be the best they have to offer up right now.
Right, but it comes just down to the booking and you just kind of having people look strong and everything. So right. I mean, she just beat a bunch of job people, Nikki Ash. There's nothing you can really do with this character at all. But just drop her out every single week. So she did look great, but I would like to have them book the other people around her a little bit stronger, so it means something when she actually has these type of gauntlet matches.
The hard part about building a situation like this with the women's Elimination Chamber guys is having the roster depth with talent. Right now, obviously, WWE is going through a whole transformation period right now. And unfortunately for the women's division, whether it be Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Travis, that we watch every Tuesdays, it's really shallow right now. And unfortunately, this is what we get. I still don't understand Nikki ASH. I don't want to understand it. I'm not a fan. She was better when she originally came in through the NXT program as,
Nikki Cross.
Nikki Cross. So it's just, going from that to this is just a complete knockoff. It's a ripoff of the Hurricane, in my opinion. It's a slap in the face to wrestling fans that know what she's actually capable of doing. Now,
She's no
on
Mighty
top of
Molly.
that,
She's no Molly Holly. Yeah.
and no Molly Holly whatsoever. No one even comes close. Unless you're one of the top stars. But nonetheless, we have Dewdrop. Is that a song title? I don't understand what's going on with this. Why isn't she using the name Piper Niven? Or, I would take that a little bit more seriously. She's obviously talented. She's unorthodox. She brings a different approach, and she's that strong figure for any babyface challenge or champion to have that one-on-one contender down the road. She's obviously not at the point where we can say Sasha Banks is at, even Alexa Bliss is at, obviously Charlotte Flair, but she's on her way to growing and being in the ring with these types of women, being the Ripleys, being the Bailey when she comes back, being the current champion right now. In those situations, that's going to help her grow ultimately. She's not quite there yet, but again, it puts her in a position to help grow. Ripley, like you said, totally underutilized, maximum potential with that woman. She's got the look, she's got the attitude, she's got the persona, she's got the fans behind her. I guarantee you she sells a lot of merch when she was on top. Right now, again, being in this program with Nikki ASH or Nikki Ash, it's a little insulting as a fan and knowing what she has been doing in the past compared to what she's doing now. So I'm sure she feels it too. And tonight was a good showing for her, lasting the 45 minutes. Most people aren't going to do that on any given night, but she proved that she could be back on track to being that top contender that we all expect her to be, and more importantly, we all want her to be. So there was a little question mark there. Bianca Belair obviously put on a great show, but there was one person missing from this match, and that was the mystery opponent that we didn't know that was going to be added to this match until a little bit later on the show, and obviously that being Alexa Bliss, who I'm excited to see back despite the character that she's bringing back with her yet again, something that we've seen recycled through Bray Wyatt, the first generation of what she was going through with that and him, and now they seem comfortable with bringing back this type of character for Alexa Bliss, who is also now, as we know, in the Elimination Chamber match and potentially could be number one contender by the end of the night.
And I'm very excited to see what that transformation is going to be. I don't think it's going to be the Fiend Alexa Bliss. I think that's what these 9 whatever we've had, these promos, these therapy segments have been. I think that's going to kind of rejuvenate, revitalize Alexa Bliss. It's not going to be old Alexa Bliss. Sorry, Jared. People are really clanging and banging back there behind you, aren't they?
You hear that, right?
It's always a party in Miami, baby.
But yeah, I'm excited to see what that's going to bring, and it adds a third legitimate superstar to this match. Unfortunately, we have 3 that are not. 3 that I don't see any way of winning. Nikki Ash shouldn't even be in a number one contenders match, let alone elimination chamber match. This is something that's where you really put your star power in.
She's definitely not winning.
What's the over-under on a cape attack? You know what I mean? Like a high-flying attack where she has to utilize
crossbody off the
crossbody
off the chamber.
What's the over-under on that?
Yeah, I think that's definitely happening. She's climbing that cage.
I hope the over is that she's eliminated within 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's the best thing for her. But now here's the question I have. The question I have now is because they had Rhea Ripley with that strong showing tonight. They've been protecting Bianca Belair. I guess the obvious match is her between Becky Lynch. And then you have Alexa Bliss is returning. So it's kind of like, how do you have everyone look good coming out of this match, and where do they go from here? Where do all the 3 of those girls go from here after this match?
Either they get released or down the card.
I think, as you said, we're going to have Belair, I think, go over. It sets up a pretty good opportunity to hopefully have Ripley and Alexa Bliss work together in some kind of program. I don't know how that gets them, either one of them, further than what they are. But at least they can get them TV time, and the more TV time Ripley can get, the better. And Alexa Bliss, it never hurts to see her on TV. I would just hope that this might be a chance for Ripley to further get over and beat that credible superstar that she needs to beat to climb her way back up the ladder.
Yeah, it's yeah, I feel like they're kind of booking themselves into a little corner. You know, they don't really think past the next pay per view, so I can see them totally, building up Rhea Ripley tonight, and then she takes like a pin against Nikki Ash in the elimination tournament for no reason. Right, for no reason.
She'll take the 17-second squash.
Yeah, how WWE. What else was on this show? Moving along, we had the Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar. They started the show, and what do you guys think of this segment here?
It's your typical go home.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Travis.
It's your typical go home promo for a match like this, for a match like Elimination Chamber. Let's get everybody out there, let them kind of do their thing. That was about that's as far as I think about it. Lesnar obviously comes out looking strong. Austin Theory came out looking out of place. Is a new guy. Hopefully he can get some shine in the match to get him elevated to where they either think he is or where they want him to be. He really didn't get much of a reaction. Riddle is over. The toga was weird.
Yeah.
I'm not getting a whole lot out of storyline development or advancement from it, but it's definitely your typical, let's just get everybody out there, try to get them hyped up, some last minute. I guess we don't have to buy the premium live events anymore, but some last minute dedicated
buzz from clout
at noon. Right.
They're really positioning Riddle as a top guy. This is a pretty big match for him.
Yeah.
Well, when he was originally being brought in, he was expected to be a top guy, and now finally, I think they're going to pull the trigger. If not past WrestleMania, whether he's doing something big at the event itself. I think moving forward, when it comes to SummerSlam, he's going to be in a prime position to be considered a top contender and maybe even challenger for the world title. Something's got to happen between him and Randy Orton, though. Oddly enough, Orton's not in the chamber, and he is. So maybe that creates a rift sometime like down the road, maybe. Obviously, the tag team, they're not champions anymore. Orton can essentially blame Riddle for, some of his shortcomings recently, too. So, not being there to back him up when needed, and, that could potentially put Riddle in the position that he needs to be by beating someone like Randy Orton after teaming up with him for so long. And
I agree.
They're a great team, don't get me wrong, but I think that'd be a good way to set up Riddle, if you look at him as a, potential superstar within the company.
And if that's the way they're going, they have this rematch for the tag team titles in 2 weeks. They lose that sets up a match at WrestleMania, and we're off to the races there. And maybe what you said by SummerSlam, maybe we could see a potential title match with Riddle. Who knows?
Yeah,
I'd be okay with that.
That actually makes sense, and that's a great undercard match for Mania: Riddle versus Orton.
Yes.
Especially speaking of which, we were just talking about this off air. They're talking about bringing Stone Cold back to fight Kevin Owens. Which makes sense because he was in tonight's episode. He was they're in Indianapolis, and he's like shooting on Texas and saying like he's just running down Texas and saying they're all stupid and everything. And they're piping in the crowd noise, the crowd going. Yeah,
it was one of those situations where you're like scratching your head, going, "What is actually happening here?" And then we start reading about reports that potentially Austin's coming back to WrestleMania. Where is WrestleMania this year? It is in Texas. I believe. So it all makes sense. Stunner versus Stunner. Can a 60-year-old Austin go for longer than 2 minutes? Who knows?
I don't even want to see it.
Someone that's going to carry him. It's a guy like Kevin Owens.
I'm not even worried about the cardiovascular part of it. I'm just worried about just taking a bump, just doing anything that's real physical. And like Jared said, if anybody could work around that kind of thing, I think it was Jared that was talking about this. If anybody can work around that kind of thing, it's going to be Kevin Owens, working with Austin. Definitely more of a nostalgia thing, but I'm just worried what's this going to do to the reputation of Stone Cold. He went out with a bang. It wasn't the way he wanted to go out. It was the way he was forced to go out. But I think once you're out of the business for going on 20 years due to that, with everything in me, I want to see him come back and have one last hurrah and it'd be amazing. But I just don't think that that's a reasonable expectation.
It's not going to be amazing. It's like I just don't feel like you don't need to even do it because there's other ways, other capacities you can use them. Like you've seen in previous manias, the last one in Texas when he just came out with HBK and Mick Foley,
Yeah,
and it was fine, you know.
right.
Or the
Yeah.
time in
So if
New
they don't pull
Orleans.
the trigger on Austin, if they don't pull the trigger on Austin, do they switch it over to HBK?
Oh please, God no! I don't want to see any of these people ever again. Like just let
Well,
them.
and here's where I was
Well,
going
he's
with
already
that
started
was,
bashing Texas.
if you really want to protect him and have Austin in a match and be able to make that a marquee thing to sell WrestleMania, you would put him in a tag team match. But we saw in Saudi Arabia how tag team matches can go. Maybe
Right.
you give him somebody younger that can really, really carry the match along with Kevin Owens and whoever would be with Kevin Owens, and let him get in there, get his shine, really take nothing. Give the stunner, 1, 2, 3. We're drinking beer and we're off to the races.
Yeah, the old school Stone Cold spiel, everything that everyone
Right.
loves. So
Right. Which
yeah,
in the end, that's
it could be a
everybody. That's what
15-minute
everybody's going to want. They're not going to
squash.
care. They're not going to give a shit about what the match looks like.
I don't want that memory in my head. I still have bad memories of Shane putting Undertaker in the sharpshooter and him selling for it. And I'm still in
But it was
therapy
Shane
for that.
McMahon.
I'm still in therapy for that. Yeah, the strongest metal in the universe.
We
Greatest
had
in
no
the
idea
world?
at the time that he was the greatest in the world.
Yeah, we had no clue.
Greatest in the world.
Luckily,
Hands down.
Saudi Arabia cleared that up for us.
We were watching the GOAT. So we had the Broga Party stuff, and this was kind of going throughout the show with the Broga Party and the feud between RK Bro and Alpha Academy. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the whole Broga stuff, but man, can Chad Gable cut a promo? He's like really improved, or at least he's getting the opportunity to go out there and do his thing.
Like I've said for the last few weeks, he really is comfortable with this reiteration of who he is.
He reminds me of Kurt Angle. He's like completely
Yes.
Kurt Angle character, like to a T.
And seeing him, I love it. This whole Broga thing was weird. The RK Broga or whatever they were calling it.
Yeah.
I would almost rather talk about the 24/7 title segments
Oh.
we've seen through the night. But
God.
that's an almost.
Oh, speaking of almost too, he had a squash match.
Almost, yeah.
Okay.
Almost.
Okay, against the Hurt Business for no
Yeah,
reason.
I almost watched it.
Oh,
But yeah, Gable is quickly becoming a favorite of mine, just with this gimmick. 4-point Otis, as was said on Raw. I love that. I think it's just one of the good things going in WWE right now on Raw. One of the few things.
yeah. Gable's really developed into a machine almost in terms of his in-ring ability was never questioned, but it was the development of who he actually
Right.
wanted to be inside the ring and in front of that audience. And finally, he's come into his own as, like you said, Jared, almost like a Kurt Angle per se, 2.0. I think he's better on the mic right now than Angle has ever really been too. And he's just a great heel.
And he survived them they tried to give him the future endeavor with the Shorty
Oh.
G stuff.
Shorty G.
And
I totally forgot he was Shorty G. I completely forgot he was Shorty G.
Terrible.
Wow.
And then, he tried his best. It didn't work. They repackaged him now, and I think he's being more himself because everything he said on Raw was true tonight in terms of his academics, his, accomplished skills with wrestling, his school academics, all that's true, and that's just really him being himself. They always say the best characters are the ones that are actually just, taking themselves and multiplying by 10 for that audience to see. And I think Gable's finally come into his own sense, his own right. He is comfortable, but still growing, not complacent, comfortable, but comfortable and still growing with actually what he's doing out there right now. And it really shows that he's having a lot of fun out there. We were talking about this earlier with Jared and I were watching the show, and it looks like, we mentioned several names that were just essentially just having fun out there. And just, it looked like they were enjoying being out there for a show that's known to be not so
Enjoyable.
entertaining for us fans. But those guys that really are just out there having fun, being themselves, doing what they want to do, and making it work, that makes it entertaining for us, and it's entertainment for everyone, watching around the world or whoever's tuned in. But it just shows from everything else going on Raw, not just this week, but previous weeks before. It's been like this for a long time, but these guys are really standing out. Guys like Gable, Orton, Seth is out there doing his thing, almost like the Akeem dance going on. Whatever he's doing out there with his music. But back to Gable, he's really just coming into his own and, finding who he really is out and just taking that to a whole new level with what he's doing out there.
Do you
So it's
think?
really cool to
Do you
see.
think what he's doing now can elevate him to potentially to be a top guy?
I think his size still, deters him from being a mega superstar, a world champion, even potentially. Would it pass me for WWE to put the title on him eventually if he gets over in terms of his mic skills, the overall heat, not the go away heat, but the good heat? Potentially, he could be a top heel.
Like give him almost,
But
and let him be the champion.
give almost an angle slam, and then everyone's going to be like, "Oh my God,
Almost severe.
he's good enough to be world champ." But as of right now, I think his size is the only issue, and what what they're looking for in a world champion. So I think he's capped off at U.S. Intercontinental tag.
Yeah, I don't see him ever being a top guy, but I can see him hanging around and being a main part of the roster. And I think for him and for Otis, this was really sink or swim. And I feel like they knew that coming in, and they're really getting their characters over because, like you said, it's them. It's them turned up to times 10. And when you can do that, you're comfortable with it. No matter what you have to say or what you have to do, there's just enough of the real you in there. You don't have to feel like you're playing somebody. You're just taking everything that you would do and making people hate you, or going out there making people love you. And that's what he's doing right now. And Otis is just along for the ride. But I really think that both of them were sink or swim with this, and they're swimming.
And who would have thought, like even like a year and a half ago, Otis was doing like stupid comedy stuff and had no
Right.
direction. Like that type.
Money in the Bank winner.
That
Money
guy
in
would
the
have
Bank winner.
got. That's like a future endeavor guy. The way he was, his character before.
See, if
Yes.
they were smart, they would have given Gable the Money in the Bank that year,
That was the worst pay-per-view in the history of the WWE.
right?
Yeah. But in their defense, there was really nothing they could do. They were just trying to reach for.
This was
Reach
the
for
special one, right?
That
The
was throw
rooftop
spaghetti
one?
against the wall, make it stick time.
Right.
That's what that was.
No, because you can't really have a Money in the Bank without a crowd. That the crowd is like so important in that.
Right.
And with no crowd, it's just like
Very
weird.
much so.
Yeah. Moving forward, we had a United States title match: AJ Styles versus Damian Priest, and me and Adam were watching this. We were kind of surprised because we were like, logically, this makes sense for AJ Styles to win. Like he has to win, right? Yeah, he's got to win. And then he loses clean to Damian Priest. So I have no explanation as to why that would happen. What do you think, Travis, from your experience being in the ring?
I have a lot of beef with that because you have Damian Priest, who he's slipping. The people don't care about him.
Yeah, I thought he was
United States
finished.
champion this long. There was no reactions for him. Like he's literally just stale.
It's over for
There's
him.
nothing about him that anybody likes or cares about. And I don't know if they're trying to fix that. But if you're going to fix that, one, don't make it a United States Championship match because whatever.
What's the
And
point?
don't make him go against AJ Styles in the go home episode to a pay per view where we're supposed to think that AJ Styles is going to walk in and beat Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar, Riddle.
Yeah,
It's not going to
Seth,
happen
yeah.
if he can't beat Damian Priest 1-on-1 clean.
Who nobody
How
cares
the hell
about.
is he going to go in there and beat Brock Lesnar?
Right.
Much less everybody else. So they just, they made AJ look stupid and weak.
They buried him.
And people still don't care about Damian Priest either after that match. Like it wasn't even like a great match where you'd be like, oh, okay, he did his
Right,
thing. It was just
Right. We're not sitting here like,
If
oh, wow,
anything, you hate
Damian
him
Priest
more.
looked great. We're sitting here saying all this shit all over AJ Styles.
right. I still don't want to see him. It's on my screen.
Right.
No, Priest is done. I think the only reason they're keeping him around is because of his size. You got to think, with the rest of the indie guys that got let go recently, whether it being a main roster or NXT, he should have fallen into that category in that group. I would have been thankful if it was the case, but unfortunately, we're stuck with him still as the U.S. champion. They bury one of their most reliable and talented superstars, not only in the WWE but on the planet, even at his own his age right now. AJ Styles is top notch still, no matter what. He can still go, and they have him lose clean, like Jared said, to Damian Priest. I have another nickname for him, but we're not going to say that on air because I don't want to offend anybody. But
Can't go to
it's not the
Miami
most
and get us
positive
canceled.
name to have. It just doesn't make any sense. So like you said as well, Travis, for AJ Styles to be involved in a U.S. title match potentially. He's hyping up the fact that he could walk in as a U.S. champion, he could leave as a duo champion, and then him just go put Priest over the way that he did. It was just disrespectful to AJ. It's disrespectful to us fans. It's insulting as a fan, as someone that takes the sport entertainment business serious.
Oh, he's out. He's out, ladies and
Oh
gentlemen.
no! Did I lose camera?
You probably did. Adam he's MI. We can still hear you.
You can still hear me.
Go ahead, Adam.
I don't know why the screen's out there, but nonetheless, he was hyping up the fact that he was going to be a duo champion coming out of the pay-per-view this coming weekend, and the fact that he lost clean just again doesn't make him a viable contender for what the situation is or the gimmick match going into place come Elimination Chamber. So again, it's a huge letdown. It was something that Jared and I talked about before, thinking that. And I look awesome right now on the video. That are noticing this. This is now me. Only if the lips were moving, but nonetheless. Going back to the key point of this was AJ got buried. He's a company guy, and he didn't deserve this, in my opinion. And unfortunately, this is the best that WWE could do for him in a situation like this.
Well, he just re-signed, so they know they have him for a little while.
And
he just got suckered into probably a fat check, and that's what's keeping him around, maybe to make sure that his family's taken care of course.
And I think the smartest thing tonight would have been put the title on Styles, for obvious reasons. Send Priest away for a little while if you're gonna still keep him there, and repackage him because again he's slipping. Not as he's not slipping. He's fallen. Nobody cares. They've booked him into oblivion. They need to redo him and have just a new presentation for him if they want any hope of anything happening.
Yeah, like picture like you said.
Deal.
Well, I was just about to say that. All right, picture this. Picture he goes away for until SummerSlam. You have a high profile match, maybe Edge versus somebody. Damian Priest comes out of nowhere, attacks Edge, boom.
Right.
And he has a different look. He just boom. You have something with him next.
Right. And we've seen them try that with people like Corbin, right? And it hasn't worked yet, but it's literally, it's just going to be finding the right gimmick. And, this one right now, for what they've done with it, it's not working. Tonight did nothing but keep it as stale as it's ever going to be and keep the U.S. title meaning nothing. And on the way, bury, in my opinion, AJ Styles. Yeah,
because it doesn't get just magically better from here. We're not going to just care about Damian Priest all of a sudden. Right. It's just over for him. No, unfortunately.
No, it just makes me dislike him even more.
It's Baron Corbin heat, and he's like a babyface.
Hey, I like Happy Corbin.
I could do without all those guys. Hey, real quick, I wanted to ask you guys, what do you guys think about this Mysterio Miz feud? I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
Unless I missed something, it's very random to me. It's just Miz was out there ringside and he decided to attack to help out. I don't know what that was all about. I guess he was helping out the Alpha Academy.
Yeah.
And now there's a match. Again, both of these guys could be somebody that's working with younger people and help get them over because the Miz is over. Rey Mysterio's over because he's been doing high-flying moves since before I was born. You know what I mean? So two guys that could really be taking new people and making them mean something, and now you're going to throw them together in something that there's no stakes. There's no reason other than we need a match this Saturday.
Yeah, it's such filler. There's like I don't even know why they're fighting it. To be honest, I have no idea why this feud's happening. So it's just
Okay,
like,
good. I
It's
thought I missed something, so I'm
yeah,
glad I didn't.
I don't think anyone does.
it sounded like the Miz was trying to kind of lure Dominic away from his dad or father Ray, because Ray wasn't a upstanding babyface or typical standard babyface due to cheating that happened the previous week. So it was just like you said, kind of awkward, weird, out of place, thrown together, filler for the upcoming event, a premium live event, I should say. It's no longer a pay per view, but nonetheless, I think Miz is just out there having fun. He's willing to work with anyone and everyone
Oh
that
yeah,
WWE throws at him,
it'll
and
be
like he
great.
just does it so well. Like he's such a great heel, with Maurice especially by his side. It's just a great combo. Again, a little odd that this was thrown together and very quickly and over very little, especially for a premium live event. But nonetheless, two talented athletes. I hope that eventually maybe this leads to Dominic potentially leaving Ray and going off on his own,
I was gonna say
and
it might be
maybe
how
Ray
they.
retiring, because I'm kind of a little over Ray Mysterio. Have been for a few years now.
Yeah,
I like to see him go, but when he does go, he can still go. So and the stylistic matchup between the Miz, you have someone that's going to try to ground someone like Rey Mysterio, take away that speed and agility. He's going to out wrestle him, where Ray's going to consistently try to high fly him out and keep up the pace and try to get the win that way. So
but
nonetheless, it should be an entertaining match, even though it's just thrown together.
I mean, my thing is like I just don't care about any of these characters or their feud. Like that's the issue I have
There's
with
no
it.
reason
Like,
for it.
and I don't see any type of appeal in Dominic at all, Mysterio. Like I don't. I think if he actually leaves Ray, he's gonna be buried because his gimmick is basically being the son of Rey Mysterio. Other than that, he looks very plain. He looks very um, yeah. I mean, I would rather put Ricochet in a position to succeed rather than
Right.
Dominic
Yeah,
Mysterio.
Dominic's
Oh,
gonna definitely need
100%.
some kind of. He's definitely gonna need some kind of repackaging if they decide to put them against each other, and maybe this was planting the seeds for that in a weird way, but I don't know. Or it's just a way to get another match for Saturday.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go. Get more,
It would
get
have
a couple
to
more people
It
paid.
would have to be a repackage.
The
though.
money,
And
money,
he'd
money,
have to
money,
be
money.
heel. And I can't take Dominic serious enough to consider him a top heel or a heel in general.
I just don't like Dominic at all. I don't like.
No.
I don't like the whole. Yeah, there's no reason to care. So let's talk about the main event a little bit. We had Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton in a match I could honestly main event of WrestleMania. So what do you guys think about this whole match and the outcome of it?
I mean, the match itself, of course, was great. You have Rollins and Orton, who they're not going to be in a match that sucks.
Yeah.
Orton's been around too long. Rollins top of his game. Orton arguably at the top of his. I thought that the ending was stupid. When you have a match that goes 20 minutes, you really want to see a winner, and that's part of booking it into whatever they're going to be booking it into. But just to see that.
Yeah, because Adam and I were talking about it when we were watching it. It didn't make any sense. So Orton hits his finish, and then Alpha Caddy's music just randomly happens to pop up, and they start running down the aisle. Yeah, they start running down the aisle, and then Riddle's chasing them. It's just like
if you watch it back, I think he almost beat Gable out of the when they came out. It looked like he almost beat him out of the curtain. So
yeah, exactly. Like, why would they be chasing,
brother?
Why would they be chasing each other? And then stupid Orton, who's been doing this for 20 years, gets out of the ring to go help his buddy, gets back in and gets curb stomped for the clean finish. So it was kind of lazy. It was very lazy of a story.
But
So
yet
Orton
again,
goes
could
to
go to
save-
plant seeds for Orton being pissed off at Riddle. Not
Yeah.
only now is Riddle in the title number one contender, well, I guess the title match at the Elimination Chamber, but now he also screwed Orton out of beating Rollins.
Yeah.
It could be construed that way if you want to get Hill Orton back, which I love Hill Orton, and I hope that's just around the corner. And I think that will be a way to build somebody, and that somebody is Matt Riddle.
Yeah.
Definitely 100% Riddle again. If they're preparing him for what I think they're doing, he's going to be a top babyface in the company. So there's no better way to rejuvenize or bring back the heel Orton. Bring the heel Orton back by being held back by someone like Riddle. So the spotlight's sort of being taken over. Orton doesn't feel like he's out of place yet. He's still got a lot of matches in him. And again, he wants that respect probably from someone like Riddle, who, in his opinion, doesn't quite deserve what he's getting offered to him. So that being the title match at Elimination Chamber. So again, maybe seeds are being planted, which again I look forward to if the case, because that just kind of tells me that maybe Raw's headed in the better direction than what we were used to. Not overall as a show, but at least they're taking care of the top stars and their potential future stars, being on that main roster show.
I just can't see Riddle as doing anything else. I just don't see him as like elevating or going into
he's got to lose the
high profile feuds. Yeah, he's got to lose that gimmick, I think.
Because he wasn't really that. It wasn't really that well known when he was performing in Evolve, working his way up and getting that opportunity to come to NXT. When he was doing the random indie shows and like consistently working for Evolve, he was a lot more serious. He was a little bit more MMA based. He was a no gimmick needed type of guy in ring, because his ability and his talent and his unorthodox style was something that people weren't used to, and it really got over. Obviously, he has the California beach look, so WWE said, "Hey, he looks like a California stoner, so we're gonna take that idea
and just run with it forever.
Emphasize it 10 times. Oh, this guy looks like a cowboy. Now you're riding a horse into the events. This guy looks like a scuba diver. So you're coming into the ring with a snorkel. It's just typical WWE. If you give them any little bit of information about yourself or your personal life, if those that don't know, Riddle does have a license to smoke marijuana for medical purposes. So they probably took that idea, found that out. Obviously said, "Hey, go overboard with this. You got this, champ." It's just one of the things that WWE is really good at doing to talent that doesn't really need to do that. Ringmaster with Austin, Rocky Maivia with The Rock. Just let these guys be themselves. If Riddle were to go back to that no gimmick needed style, utilize a little bit more of his MMA style, his unorthodox style, potentially could become, an over babyface and do the reverse instead of going from heel to babyface to heel. He could sell a lot of merch. He could make a lot of money with the company. He could become world champion eventually down the road.
And I think that's something where right now what they're doing, it fits well with this RK Bro thing, but they're really going to have to tone it back. And as you said, change a few things, make him more serious, focus more on his fighting ability, focus more on what brought him to the game. And, you're going to elevate him that way. Right now, it's cool as far as what they're trying to do with RK Bro, but that's only going to last so long. And if that doesn't change, then Riddle's only going to last so long too.
Yeah, I would
you
agree.
Can't have him job up to Shane McMahon at the Royal Rumble either. I know that was out of someone's hands.
Everybody jobs to Shane McMahon.
You can't have Shane McMahon outstrike you as a former professional MMA fighter that had a record of 7-3, and the only reason you lost 2 of those fights is because your tests were overturned, and you were disqualified, or they went to no contests.
Hey, I don't want to start any rumors, but I've never seen Shane McMahon and Chuck Norris in the same place. I'm just saying. Sure.
I've never seen Shane McMahon and Batman in the same room either, but
That's true. That's true.
Don't talk shit on Batman.
Oh, Shane McMahon.
It's Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon, Batman. What would you guys rate this show tonight?
Well, there's actually one more segment that I enjoyed. I'd like to talk about, and that's the Raw Women's contract signing for the championship match.
How can we forget
Becky Lynch and Lita?
How can we forget? Yes, solid segment.
I thought you were going to bring up Reggie winning the 24/7 title.
Oh yeah. Awesome segment.
But
different, I would say.
Right. When Lynch was coming out, I was like, what the hell were they doing? What is this? And as it got proceeding and she's talking about, I haven't slept at all this week thinking about, I looked up to you. I studied your entire career. I watched you. And you're getting me to this breaking point. You're getting me to this point where I don't want to go and I'm not going to be able to come back from. And I'm going to focus on your neck and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then of course Lita turns around with, well, if I had a hand in creating you, well, then I guess it's up to me to finish it. And the only thing that's going to end or be broken this Sunday or this Saturday is your 500-day title reign. Perfect.
Yeah.
Did what it needed to do. Got my attention. Brought me in from the beginning. To me, that may have been the best segment on the show.
And what's great about it is it also made sense. It's so easy to make sense. It's so easy to tell an easy story, Like,
Simplicity at its finest.
simplicity at its
The simplest
finest.
route is usually the most efficient route, especially when it comes to pro wrestling and storylines. This was, again, a clear-cut case of, each one telling their story. Like you said, Travis, Becky Lynch potentially going to a place where she doesn't like being, but is now being forced to go out there, to defend her title, something that she held dearly, is not willing to give up to someone like Lita or anyone at all. Knowing that it's Lita and her reputation and what she's accomplished, she knows that she has to step up her game, and this is where this dark place comes into play for her to be able to do that and defend her title properly.
And I think it could be argued that as far as Lynch being a heel, that's not necessarily working out because the people still love her. Tonight, she seemed to have some legitimate heat with the way she presented herself, with the way she, went to this kind of maniacal place. So, I think it really helps separate heel versus face, your classic way it should be, Lynch versus Lita. She really got some good heat tonight, I thought.
So,
I haven't.
well, real quick,
I
Adam.
haven't. Sorry. Go ahead.
What I was gonna say is, now let's say that at Brown Jewel, Becky Lynch just totally destroys Lita, and she's destroying a Hall of Famer, she's destroying a legend, someone that people looks up to, and then she's like destroying that part of herself. So it also gives them the opportunity to kind of develop that character where maybe she's like a little bit more vicious and she's like a more of like a mean streak. So that really separates her from being like the fan favorite because people still want to cheer her. But
Right.
if she just kind of just goes ahead and destroys Lita, then I feel like people would boo her. And then when they get to the time where Bianca Belair has to face her, they're just like another element to the story because she's just
Right.
facing someone that's very dangerous. So
And I
interesting
really
to say.
hope that it's not just this. Oh, she's psycho now. She has a psycho side to her.
Not that, but just this-
everybody has that. But yeah, to find this mean streak. If they really focus on the mean streak, and I can go dive deep into myself and bring this out when I need to. I don't want to because I don't like me when I'm there.
Exactly. It's still kind of a little baby face.
Right.
It's like baby face a little bit. It's just character development. Like sometimes you have to destroy your idols,
Right.
So it's like that's a cool story.
I would hope they go that way. Yes, I think that'd be really cool. I think that'd be good.
Now, I haven't been watching Raw consistently. Obviously, we've been taking care of Tuesdays, but Jared, you've been watching Raw week in, week out for the last little while now again.
Unfortunately.
Has she shown any signs of this type or side to her, leading up to this week, or is this the first time that we've really seen this? And if the case, how far do they take it, post Elimination Chamber?
Well, I think if you do like look at Becky Lynch, I think she's very good at the storytelling aspect of things, like the little details that you might miss the first time. So no, she hasn't showed this side, but I mean, it's very easy to have like this bland type of matches, like you see on the other side, Roman Reigns versus Goldberg, and it's kind of the same situation. You're taking someone who's a new superstar and facing him against someone that's from yesteryear. So Becky Lynch is kind of, in contrast, makes her story a little bit better. So we haven't seen this part of her, but I'm intrigued now to see the match, and before I really wasn't even interested in seeing it.
Yeah, that's a totally different dynamic. I just wish they kind of had more of a reason for it. Because again, for me, I haven't watched Raw, but do you really think that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's kind of like
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a situation where, like, I guess in kayfabe, Lita was just around for the Royal Rumble, and then she said, like, hey, look, let's do this in Saudi Arabia, and Becky needs an opponent. So, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense that way. it's not as random as like Goldberg showing up and just being like, I'm the champion now. I want to be the champion now.
You're next.
So yeah, so I guess it kind of could make sense. And then just the layer of storytelling Becky's added to it, saying like, this is my idol. This is someone I looked up to, and I got to go ahead and destroy her. And I'm losing sleep over this. That's just a cool story to tell, I think.
Yeah, definitely. When you always hear someone say, "Hey, you were my idol. Now I get a chance to fight you," it makes you question whether they're trying to show a face side to him. You know what I mean? Like you said, like she gets cheered as a heel, so her giving that respect to Lita in the sense of, you were my idol growing up. You created me. It's kind of like a face thing to do to show that sign of respect rather than a cowardly heel, which I thought she was originally going with before she started really showing us, hey, she's actually going deeper into herself to pull out this different side of her that she needs to utilize in order to win this match. Like for me, at first when I was watching it seemed like she was trying to give off a little bit of a face rub there, and it was just like a little confusing at first. But again, nonetheless, it still has my interest.
I think I like the.
I'm looking forward to the match.
I like the nuance of it. I think there's a quote that says like the difference between being a hero and an enemy is perspective. So it's like it just kind of, for Lynch, it's kind of just character development. That now she's at the point of their career where she has to to stay on top. She has to kill her past. So
Right.
It's like, is she a bad guy here, or is it just kind of like something you just got to do to stay on top? So again, it adds cool layers to the story that would probably be boring most of the time.
Well, and I think it's a story, as we're saying, what's being built on it right now is really making it something special. But I think just at the base level, it's something everybody can relate to. Somebody getting to go in, and we've all had people that we would love to work with, right? Even as a fan, it's like, I'd love to wrestle this person. This is my idol. I grew up watching them. Who can't relate to wanting to step in the ring with their idol, or step into, onto the basketball court with their idol, or
Right.
Baseball field, football field, wherever. So that part of it kind of already grabs your attention.
Yeah.
But now what they're doing is this amazing character development with Becky Lynch along with it.
Yeah.
To really further it, further bring you along into the story, and like, wow, she really did care about Lita, and she's not sleeping.
And now this person's trying to take your title.
Right. She's trying to keep this. She's trying to keep this
fandom
care that she has. Right.
Yeah.
She's trying to keep that at bay. But what's more important to her is the title. Right. So old school wrestling. There is that nothing's more important than the title. Right. You're going to do anything to keep the title. Look at everything back from, the NWA days. Everything. Do anything to keep the title, and that's what she's going to do.
Yeah, it's I'm loving the storyline. You got to destroy your idol to keep your title.
Yeah.
To keep your title. So, it'll be interesting. Anything we missed on the show? The 24/7. I know you were really excited to talk about that, Travis. The 24/7 title change.
Oh yeah, it was great.
What was your favorite part of the show?
Perfect.
It was
Scientific wrestling at its finest.
That's how you win it.
See what else I have in my notes here. Of course, the Omos and Hurt Business. I think that hurt.
I don't like his finish.
And Shelton Benjamin. They're going to be future endeavored soon.
Yeah, I don't like Omos's finish either. He just picks you up and drops you. Like, that's just stupid. Like, this is the best he can do.
I don't understand the infatuation with this guy's huge, but he's not ready. But let's put him on TV.
Yeah. For no reason.
That's one other
They've done
thing
it
that
so
WWE
many
is really
times,
good at.
and it's never worked. He's not going to be somebody you can put a title on unless he goes away and gets a few more years experience. Like I think he's brand new, like to wrestling. He's just somebody that had a size that they picked up, brought him down to Florida or wherever, and said, let's train him for a little bit. And we can put him with AJ Styles, and we'll see what happens there. He looks athletic. He looks like somebody that could do something, but he needs experience.
Yeah.
And throwing him in these classic 3-minute squash matches, it's not gonna do anything.
Even
Not
like
in today's age,
even like
because
his
you're
costume.
trying to make him look like Andre the Giant style booking where he's just gonna be a monster. Well, wrestling fans today need more than that. I think. I don't think that building the monster is what people want to see. Just these classic 5-minute matches, whatever. If we're going to see a monster, that monster needs to have athleticism. The monster needs to be doing stuff that we haven't seen before in one way or another. And he's just greener than goose shit. And it's not going to be something that he can do right now.
Well, the other thing is like, why would we care about this character? Like, he has a very bland, like he's dressed like me right now. Like he just doesn't have like a cool outfit. He doesn't have good music, and there's no character. I'm like, why do we care about this person? Like it's just pointless.
No, they tried to get the rub off from AJ to him. Obviously, the in-ring talent can't back it up. He's so green that it's almost embarrassing. You feel bad for the guy because you can tell he's trying, but he still hasn't grasped the concept of the psychology of wrestling. He's definitely not at the level of being able to perform on national television and be respected for it. He's not considered anything more than a semi-freak show, if you go back to that term. He is that outcast. He's a guy that
Kurgan.
Yeah, he's a Kurgan. He's a Giant Gonzalez. Angel Gigante. He's just literally one-dimensional, and unfortunately, he doesn't even have the in-ring ability of a Giant Gonzalez to get him over to a certain extent where he's facing top guys. At least Elegante or Giant Gonzalez got to face The Undertaker.
Yeah.
Where's almost going to be in the next year,
Shane O'Mac.
Nowhere. Yeah. That's who they need to bring in to manage this guy. You know what I mean? Give Shane something to do that doesn't involve being in ring or performing with the real talent.
Actually, he started off as he was the bodyguard at Raw Underground. He was at the door, remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That would tie into a long-term story booking, as now fans call it. Whether it is or not, that's something they should consider, probably do. Again, it ties up Shane from fucking up or messing up. Sorry, pardon the French.
Oh God, please no.
But,
no almost, no Shane. No almost, no
Shane.
Shane.
That voice that AJ was for him. So it's just it's a bycosh with him. He's a mess.
I just don't think
terrible situation.
I don't think it's gonna work at all. Honestly, just not.
I don't either.
And I feel
if
bad
they
for
would have
him.
waited until he was confident in himself, had some kind of character, maybe they could have got a couple-year run out of him. But the way it stands right now, everybody can see through him, and he's not confident in his ability. What is there?
Yeah.
He doesn't understand, as Adam was saying, he doesn't understand how to work the crowd or anything like that, and that's not something that we should be able to point out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But also too,
on TV every week.
he has no opponents either. There's nothing you can
Right.
Like Adam said, you at least Gonzalez,
There's no stepping stones.
had Undertaker or something like that. You can't do nothing with these guys. Yeah.
No, not at all. It's like putting the brain concept for wrestling of Russo into Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, here you go wrestle on national television. Show us what you got. Make it count. And Vince Russo, as we know, doesn't have the greatest mindset for professional wrestling or understanding of the sport or entertainment side of it as well. He's more of a Jerry Springer trash TV kind of guy. And then you got a guy the size of like a Shaquille O'Neal who's just obviously an attraction on his own just for that right. But you put him in the ring on national television, what's he going to really do? He can't do much. A, he's never been taught. B, he doesn't understand it. And C, there's just no time. They're forcing it on him, so it's just a mad rush to gain new stars. And meanwhile, they're just hurting the talent that they technically have or potentially have on their roster already signed.
So, all right. So, in contrast, you have on the other show, you have Jade Cargill, very similar to someone who hasn't been in the ring for a while, just really trying to learn the ropes down. And she's had probably probably presented way better than Omos. What do you think is the essential differences there?
She's not as big as Omos.
No, I'm saying in the sense of all right, you have two people who are very great, very green, and two people who are kind of aesthetically a commodity. Jade just like a unique look, Omos is a unique look. they've had very different bookings. And what would you say, like, it's kind of like the difference in the booking? Because Jade, you know, she looked better than Almost, I would say, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
she has a manager, and even as green as she is, you know, she can still work. She's not this overly gargantuan. I mean, she's muscular.
Right.
She's
But
not
I'm
this
saying as far
overly
as
gargantuan.
I compare them because they're two
Athletic.
commodities, you know, they're two like
Right.
sideshows, I
She-
guess.
She can still
One
work.
looks like a professional gymnastic bodybuilder. The other one's
Right.
just big and tall.
But you
Yeah.
can't teach that. I can see why Vince would want something like that, you know?
Oh, 100%. That's his style, right? Unfortunately, again, you know, Almas is the guy that has to be the brunt or the mule, the test pilot on this whole situation, and ultimately he's failing hard, whether he knows it or not.
But the thing is that I feel like there's a way to do it because they're doing it with Jade Cargill.
Again, I think it's different especially when it comes to the men and women too.
Right.
Unfortunately, potentially, I think with a lot of fans, there's less expectation in the women's division than there is the men's division. So when you see a gargantuan man, I'm going to reference Parker Boudreaux, not just because I'm a fan of his.
She loves Parker
potentially
Boudreaux.
what he could be, but look what they're doing with him as Heartland. We don't see his athletic size. We don't see his ability. Anytime that he's been in the ring, it's a brawl for all essentially, and you know almost similar style if you look at it. Unfortunately, but Jade Cargill, you know, she actually has some athleticism that's naturally, you know, in her body, in her blood, in her mindset. She understands the business a little bit better due to the, you know, the background that she comes into professional wrestling with. She understands competition.
Yeah.
She
Performance.
has a way better look, and it's the women's division, unfortunately. Even with everything that's happened between the four horsewomen, you know, the involvement or the evolution, I guess, of the women's division overall, in both companies, still there's lower expectations, I think, in the women's division. So when you take someone as green as both of them, Jade has adapted technically better than Omos, obviously. Just again, I think she has more athletic ability naturally.
Right. While they're both commodities, again, I think it's apple and oranges in that, as we're saying, Jade is somebody that can go out there and be athletic, like you said.
And
She's still
perform.
working matches.
Right. Yes, true.
She is
Almost just tall.
powerful.
He can just be
And-
tall, and that's it.
Right, and
She could be a
with
manager.
the women's division, the old school booking still works. You know, if you got this big, strong person, let them go out there, and you know they might get knocked around a little bit, but she might not leave her feet. She's just going to come back and win, and do what she does best. You know, that the kind of old school booking that it doesn't really work with the men's division anymore.
That's true. That's true. Sorry, Almost. He's probably watching right now because he watches the show and
He's done.
He's
He's
just-
running us up right now.
a single tear just went down his cheek.
We just got a single thumb down,
Speak-
and that's
speaking of
definitely
tears,
Omos's thumb
it's-
down. No.
Yeah.
Speaking of tears, we saw Ciampa finally show up, and he was left laying.
Yeah, that's nonsensical. And he's feuding with Dolph Ziggler for some reason.
But it does build into the NXT storyline that they're starting. So, you know, hopefully we'll see a little bit more about that tomorrow with Ziggler and him on NXT.
So
Vengeance Day, baby.
I don't hate the idea of them having kind of like NXT storylines on Raw because it makes more people want to watch NXT. But I'm just kind of thinking like, why the heck wasn't Triple H able to have that? You know, why was he not afforded that kind of alley-oop where you have NXT people on Raw?
Well, now you have the same people in charge of all three shows, so I guess they can do what they want.
Right now they communicate
Yep.
more because it's definitely going to help NXT for sure.
Oh yeah, huge. Dolph's been underutilized for quite some time now on the main roster, despite his tandem with Bobby Roode, another poor soul that's been victimized by WWE booking. Unfortunately, Bobby Roode's not going back to NXT, and it is Dolph, but again, it's fresh material for that program. And again, those, if you think about it, Raw has its established superstars. It has its stars.
Dolph's not going to be one of them.
NXT is really still trying to develop that new, fresh generation for that brand. And what a better way to do it than have a guy like Dolph Ziggler come down like we've seen in the past with AJ Styles, Finn Balor. Why not throw Dolph in there? Someone that's, again, like I said, underutilized on the main roster. Oversaturated, underutilized, and just worn out, I think, with fans in his position and his character, where he can come down to NXT and, help these new younger generation talents get over, develop themselves before they come up to the main roster like we've seen in the past.
But let me ask you this. If you have Ziggler going to NXT, he's a big thing. You have him on Raw, and you're laying out somebody who was supposed to be debuting on Raw anyway in Ciampa. Yeah, he's still in NXT, but when he goes to Raw where there's a different perspective of Dolph Ziggler, what's that do for him? If he's going to be left laying, maybe this is the only time that happens.
Dolph Ziggler.
I think the answer to that is I think the answer to that is WWE thinking that everyone watches all three programs, or at least people from Raw that are invested in that Dolph Ziggler storyline are watching NXT as well. Because when they watch tomorrow night on Vengeance Day, whether there's a match between the two or not, I honestly think Ciampa's going to go over in the end to begin with, or to end it all. And then, when he comes back on Raw, he's already established by beating Dolph in the rematch, or, in the original match. He's established himself in the ring, 1, 2, 3. He's technically beat down tonight, but I think at the end of the war, they're going to make Ciampa look like a champ coming out of this feud. And
did they mention NXT at all during this?
They ran a couple of ads.
Commercials.
Yeah,
about Ziggler and Ciampa.
Oh, they did a package. No, they did a package. They did it.
Okay.
Yeah, they did it.
And so, hopefully that's it. You got an audience that's roughly twice the size of what NXT gets. So they're trying to get people to tune into that. But I feel like your general fans is going to think, well, who's this guy? Nobody's going to care about him. Are they going to be invested enough in Ziggler to watch tomorrow night to find out who this guy is that was supposed to debut and be a big thing on Raw, potentially get super kicked again?
Honestly, I think I think the ship has sailed for Ciampa, because I don't watch NXT. I only watch really you guys' reviews. But I used to like the old takeovers when he was in the main event against the Adam Coles and Johnny Garganos and stuff. So when I saw him on my screen, I was just kind of like, it's whatever. I feel like they should have cashed out on him, a couple years ago.
I don't think those ships sailed on him, but I think that this isn't a good way to get him started.
Well, I'm saying in the sense that if he would have came to the main roster maybe a couple years ago, I think he would have been a much bigger star than he is now. It's kind of like right now he's
he was there. He was there with Gargano for about 2 weeks and then goes back to NXT.
Yeah.
I don't think. It's the kiss of death anyway. Who's come up from NXT that's an NXT home-built guy and been successful?
Not anybody.
I don't think it's a bad start, though. And just from my perspective, I think it's potentially a good start. Even though he got beat down tonight, like I said, it just makes it better for the face to get that revenge, I think, and overall win the war.
It does, but again, I'm just looking at more of a general fan.
If the main roster fans don't switch over, like you said, though, too, it goes both ways, double-edged sword. If the main roster fans don't switch over NXT, they're not going to know, essentially, or get to see Ciampa beat Ziggler before he comes back to the main roster again. For all they know, this guy just came back after losing to Ziggler, getting beat up by Ziggler, and, why do we care about him? Because he just got beat up a guy that loses 9 times out of 10, like he said 2 weeks ago on NXT.
So that's my thing. Is Ziggler somebody that's going to make people switch over to NXT? I don't think. I think you're going to have to be somebody that's already watching NXT and think, oh, it's cool that Dolph Ziggler's here. You're more of a hardcore fan of WWE, and it's cool to see somebody come down, if you would, to NXT, the third brand. I don't know that works the other way.
Yeah, he's not really pushing the needle, but I think WWE potentially feels he might be able to, so they're willing to take that really big risk on burying Ciampa, as you said.
I don't think we see much from him anyway, because he's feuding with Dolph Ziggler. Really think about this.
Right.
We know how they see Dolph Ziggler, so if he's feuding with him,
for me it's a big deal.
What would have been a better thing?
For me, it's a big deal.
Why not Styles and Ciampa? I would have.
You know what?
For that.
Because
Yeah.
here's the thing. I was just about to ask you guys. Can you name me 3 main roster roster feuds that you want to see champion? The only thing I came in my head was AJ Styles. That's the only one. I don't want to see him versus Damian Priest. I don't want to see him against the Miz.
Rollins.
Rollins could work, but I think
I can
Rollins
see that.
is on a different level though.
I think
Yeah.
that you give him a chance to somehow work with him. If you're gonna bring him in as a top guy and see what he's got, because Ciampa can work. Ciampa.
Yeah, I'm not
Ciampa
denying
is a-
that. I'm not
Ciampa is
disputing
a
that.
heel though.
I can
Ciampa
see
as
the
a
Miz,
heel
too.
is one of the best heels in the business when the storylines.
I would agree with that, but what I'm saying is right now, I haven't seen Ciampa in a while, and right now he's feuding with Dolph Ziggler. So to me, it's
Exactly.
you know,
That's my
it's
point.
it's like
pairing him with giving him somebody that loses all the time but can leave him
Yeah.
lying.
so how tough
who's he gonna come in and beat?
how tough can this guy be really if he's trying to beat up on the worst team?
Put Styles in Ziggler's position.
Put Styles
Then
there,
you're making Ciampa.
and then then he beats Styles. Then it makes sense for him to fight Rollins or someone like that. But to start with Dolph Ziggler, like whatever. So, but let's wrap this up.
I like
What do you guys think of the show? What would you rate it?
Oof.
I'll let Straight Shoot go first.
I overall,
Or is it John Cena?
you can't see me.
There you go.
But I was picking up what you were dropping there, Jared. But overall, the show, I found there was 2 good segments on the whole event. And at half past at that, and unfortunately for Raw tonight, I don't know really what it's been averaging for you personally, Jared, because you're the one watching it, with Rousey. But we filled in tonight, and for someone that hasn't been watching the program, I have to get like a 4.5, maybe a 4 out of 10.
That's definitely a meme face right
That
there.
bad?
Oh, I
Because we were
I thought it was 5 too.
distracted.
Yeah.
I was like,
Was that too high? We were being distracted. I'm not distracted when I watch NXT. Has my full attention. I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming on next throughout the show. With Raw tonight, I just felt like I was not into it as much as I normally should have been. Despite the trend that it's been taking, or the course that it's been taking in terms of lack of entertainment value. I can see why people are disgruntled and feel like Raw is no longer the flagship program, because SmackDown probably is more entertaining over on Fox than the USA Network. I don't know, Zen, but I don't know. It feels like both flagship programs are hurting, and I'm just an NXT guy. That's why I don't do Mondays and Fridays, baby.
Negative
I like
Ghost
my
Rider.
Tuesdays. But I had nothing really positive to say overall about the show tonight, other than, I can't even really think. Like, overall, it was just, there's
Can
just
I-
a lot of things I would have done differently.
I'm going to strongly disagree, sir. You put some
Can I give it a negative number, actually?
you put some respect on Monday Night Raw's name tonight. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna give it if I can compare it to other Raws, and I'm gonna go out of 5, not out of 10. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. You had
4 out of 5.
You had the Becky Lynch Lita segment, which was pretty good. You got some good in-ring stuff in the Seth Rollins Randy Orton match, and you have megastars. You got to see Brock Lesnar, and you got to get Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley got a chance to kind of show what she's got, and you got to see Bianca Belair. So I thought a lot of good stuff happened on the show. It was a lot of different segments, and it wasn't as bad as like the worst type of Raws, which is usually like every week. So I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 if I compare it to other Raws.
And Jared, I think mine and yours line up a little bit better than.
Yeah, Adam hated it. He's ready to go party
even
with
out
me.
of, even out of 10.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do out of 5 also. I gave it 3.5 out of 5. We had, again, 2 good matches. Rollins and Orton, great match. Went a couple commercial breaks.
Big
20
huge
minutes
stars.
or so.
WrestleMania match.
The gauntlet match, as you said, 44 minutes. We really got to see Ripley look like she's somebody again. And, of course, you can never go wrong with having Belair there. I love Belair. Some of the negatives, the U.S. title match.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great.
Didn't do what it needed to do. I hate squash matches. I hate the 24/7 title. I
Yeah.
hate interference when you get a match that's lasted 20 minutes. That just to me, it didn't really build directly the storyline. Maybe I'm overlooking it. It may have. I was just too irritated by it. It just seems like interference happens every week on shows. And RK Broga was a negative thing because it's just stupid. The positives, the other positive would be the contract signing. Probably my favorite segment of the night, just because of the development, like we talked about, that it's doing for Becky Lynch, and having somebody like Lita there, who's a name. I don't know how much she's going to do for a 5-star match or for developing anything other than the fact that it's going to be a name that Becky Lynch can kind of notch her belt with to continue this 500+ day run. So compared to what we've seen in the last month, because I've been able to join for probably about half of the Raws. 3.5 stars. Wasn't the worst, wasn't the best, but we made it.
We made it, and we will be right back. If I could segue to tomorrow, where you guys will be back reviewing the NXT. This is my favorite show. I don't watch NXT, but I watch you guys. So make sure, those who are watching, make sure you guys go ahead and check out Wrestling Never Sleeps channel on YouTube tomorrow for NXT.
Vengeance Day, baby. Vengeance Day.
Vengeance Day. Well,
that's right. It is Vengeance Day. Hot dog.
It's going to be fantastic. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe this video and hit the notification bell so you know when we're dropping new heat, which is each and every single day. For the coach, Travis Lillard, and the Straight Shoot, I'm Jared Never Sleeps. Thanks for watching, and it's still real to me, damn it. See you guys tomorrow.